A storm rolled across the Heartland, not of thunder and lightning, but of emotions, choices, and moments that tested every bond within the family. Season 18 was not just about horses and wide-open fields. It was about love that endures, pain that reshapes people, and courage that rises when life feels too heavy. Each character stepped into this season carrying hopes, burdens, and dreams, and what followed was a journey that pulled us deeper into the meaning of family. When Season 18 begins, the Bartlett-Fleming family is standing at a crossroads. The ranch itself feels like a living character, filled with memories of laughter, struggles, and the long shadow of loss. It is here, in the calm yet unpredictable rhythm of ranch life, that new chapters unfold. The past has shaped them, especially Amy, who continues to feel the presence of her late husband Ty in the quiet moments, in the way the horses move, in the way her daughter Lyndy smiles. The show begins with subtle hints that the family has learned to live with grief, but not forget it. This balance of remembering while moving forward is what makes every interaction this season powerful. Amy's role at the heart of the ranch feels heavier than ever. She is more than a mother, more than a trainer. She has become the soul that ties everyone together. Her work with horses this season shows not only her gift, but also her healing. In one early moment, when a troubled horse resists every hand that tries to calm it, Amy's patience breaks through, reminding us why she has always been seen as the one who listens deeper than most. Her bond with the animals reflects her bond with life itself. Gentle, steady, and quietly strong. Lyndy, now older and full of curiosity, watches her mother with wide eyes, learning lessons not through words but through the example Amy sets. Meanwhile, the ranch continues to face pressures from outside. Financial worries, the constant need to maintain the land, and the push of modern development all echo around the family. Lou, as mayor, carries the weight of responsibility not just for her family, but for the town itself. Her presence is sharp, practical, yet often pulled into emotional conflict. She must balance the voice of the people with her own desires for family closeness. And that struggle simmers in the background from the very start of the season. Jack, the steady rock of the family, seems older but not weaker. His presence in the early episodes is marked by wisdom passed down in simple words, often in moments when the younger generation needs reminding of what really matters. He is both a storyteller and a guide, shaping the path of the family with his calm strength. Lisa, by his side, is more than supportive. She is his partner in every sense, and together they show that love does not fade with age, but only deepens. Tim, as always, steps into the season with the familiar energy of someone trying to fix what he cannot control. His relationship with family members remains a mix of tension and affection. But the early moments of Season 18 make clear that he, too, is seeking redemption in small ways. His attempts to be a better father, grandfather, and mentor set the stage for conflicts that feel both frustrating and heartfelt. What makes this opening part of Season 18 so strong is the way it grounds us back into the world of Heartland. The sweeping shots of horses galloping across fields remind us of freedom, while the close, quiet family dinners remind us of connection. It is a balance of the vast and the intimate, the landscape and the heart. And as the season slowly begins, we sense that every character is about to face choices that will test not just their strength, but the strength of the bonds that hold them together. Amy's story in Season 18 feels like the heart of the show beating louder than ever before. From the very first moments, we see her standing between two worlds. One is the world of the ranch, where she feels safe, surrounded by horses, family, and the familiar rhythm of work. The other is the world of change, where life asks her to take steps that are harder, steps that push her to grow even more as a woman, a mother, and a healer. This tension between staying where things feel steady and moving into what is uncertain shapes every decision she makes. With Lyndy now growing quickly, Amy is reminded every day that she is not only raising her daughter, but also raising a part of Ty's memory. Every laugh, every question, every stubborn moment Lyndy has is a mirror of the man she lost, and that makes her both proud and fragile. We see this when Lyndy begins showing an early bond with horses. Amy, though deeply protective, knows she must let her daughter step into this world, even if it scares her. It is one of the most beautiful threads in the season. The way Amy tries to hold on while learning to let go. Her work with horses once again gives us some of the most powerful scenes. A troubled stallion, untouchable by others, responds to Amy's quiet voice and calm presence. It is a reminder that Amy's strength has never been about control, but about listening. Watching her kneel beside the animal, whispering softly, we see the way she carries her pain into healing. Every horse she touches seems to carry a piece of her story, and in helping them, she continues to mend herself. But Season 18 does not make things easy for her. There are moments when Amy feels the heavy silence of loneliness. At night, after the ranch grows quiet, she sits with old photographs and remembers the life she had with Ty. These moments are not loud or dramatic, but they cut deep, showing us how grief never leaves. It only changes shape. Yet, what sets Amy apart is that she does not let her sorrow freeze her. Instead, she uses it to guide her choices, to fuel her compassion, and to remind her of the legacy she must pass on to her daughter. The community also turns to Amy more than once this season, not just for her skill, but for her wisdom. When people bring their horses in desperation, believing they are broken beyond repair, Amy shows them that patience can rebuild trust. Her lessons are never just about animals. They are about life, about giving time, about believing that even in the darkest moments, healing is possible. Amy's journey this season is both quiet and powerful. She doesn't shout for attention. She doesn't chase recognition. Instead, her strength lies in her steady steps, in the way she chooses to rise every morning, in the way she loves her daughter, in the way she listens to what others cannot hear. In many ways, she becomes the symbol of Heartland itself, enduring, gentle, unshaken by storms yet forever changed by them. And as the season unfolds, we realize that her story is not just about surviving loss, but about learning how to live again with hope. If Amy is the heart of the ranch, then Lou is the backbone of the family. Season 18 places her in a space where every decision feels like a coin toss between duty and desire. She wears many titles: mayor, sister, daughter, mother, and each of them pulls her in a different direction. The season doesn't shy away from showing how heavy that weight can become. When she walks into town meetings as mayor, her voice is steady, her posture unshaken, but inside, she battles with the guilt of missed family dinners, of words left unsaid, of children growing up while she is busy holding a community together. The early part of the season shows Lou fighting for the future of Hudson. New projects, new developments, and the never-ending politics of small-town life make her leadership both necessary and exhausting. Every decision she makes for the town feels like it comes at a cost to her family. When she pushes for modern changes, she risks being seen as the one forgetting tradition. When she leans toward preserving the old ways, she risks slowing progress. This constant tug-of-war makes Lou one of the most human characters of the season. Flawed, determined, and always on the edge of compromise. Yet it is at home where we see her truest struggles. Katie is no longer the little girl who clung to her mother's side. She has her own questions, her own frustrations, and her own need for independence. Lou tries to guide her, but every conversation feels like walking across thin ice. Too strict, and she pushes Katie away. Too soft, and she feels like she's losing control. These mother-daughter moments are some of the most emotional in Season 18, because they capture something many families understand: the fear of letting go, and the fear of holding on too tightly. Lou's love life also lingers in the background, never quite silent. The season teases the complexity of romance for someone who has already lived through heartbreak, responsibility, and years of compromise. The show doesn't rush her into grand declarations, but it does allow her moments of vulnerability, moments where she admits, even if only to herself, that being strong all the time can feel unbearably lonely. It's in these quiet scenes, her looking out over the ranch at night, her shoulders dropping when no one is watching, that we see Lou not just as the leader, but as the woman behind the role. What makes Lou's journey unique in Season 18 is the way her choices ripple outward. Unlike Amy, whose focus is deeply personal and tied to healing, Lou's decisions impact everyone: the town, the ranch, her family. She is constantly balancing scales that never sit evenly. And through this, we see her evolution not as someone who conquers every challenge, but as someone who learns to bend without breaking. When the world of Heartland feels uncertain, it is Jack's voice that steadies the air. Season 18 reminds us that he is not just the grandfather who fixes fences and tells old stories. He is the living memory of the ranch, the man whose hands carry decades of work, and whose heart carries decades of loss and love. Every time Jack appears on screen, there's a silence that settles, as though the land itself listens. He doesn't need many words, because his presence speaks louder than speeches. Lisa, by his side, brings a different kind of strength. She is graceful, thoughtful, and always aware that love is not just about sharing the good days, but about standing through storms. In this season, we see her holding Jack up in quiet ways, reminding him that even rocks can crack under pressure, and even he deserves rest. Their relationship, though not perfect, is built on a rare truth: the understanding that love is not about never arguing, but about never giving up on each other. One of the most striking elements of Jack's journey this season is his reflection on age. The show doesn't pretend he is untouched by time. His steps are slower, his sighs a little deeper, and there are moments when he looks out over the ranch with a sadness that comes only from knowing nothing lasts forever. But Jack does not let that thought turn into despair. Instead, he sees it as a reason to pass on his wisdom, to make sure Amy, Lou, Katie, and even Tim remember what this land means. He tells stories not just to entertain, but to remind them that Heartland is more than a place. It is a bond, a promise, a responsibility. Lisa faces her own struggles. As someone who wasn't born into the ranch but chose it, she sometimes feels the weight of proving she belongs. Yet her loyalty is unquestionable. She supports Jack, but she also brings her own perspective, reminding the family that tradition and progress do not always have to clash. In one moment, when Jack insists on doing things the old way, Lisa gently but firmly challenges him, showing that love sometimes means disagreement, because true partners push each other toward growth. Their scenes together are some of the most tender of the season, sitting on the porch, sipping coffee in the early light, sharing quiet laughter when no one else is around. These are not loud moments, but they are some of the most powerful. They show what it means to grow old with someone and to still find joy in the small things. What makes Jack and Lisa's arc unique in Season 18 is the way it mirrors the themes of the entire show. They represent endurance, the unshaken roots of a family tree that continues to grow even as branches bend and break. While Amy and Lou carry the present and future, Jack and Lisa remind us of the past, of everything that built this family into what it is. Without them, the foundation would crumble. With them, there is always hope that no matter how much changes, some things remain steady. Season 18 treats their story not as an afterthought, but as a guiding light. Through Jack and Lisa, we are reminded that time changes us, but it also teaches us. And as long as there is love, respect, and the courage to keep going, even the heaviest years can feel lighter when shared together. No story in Heartland would feel complete without the presence of the voices on the edges, the ones who are not always in the spotlight, but whose choices ripple through the ranch like wind across the fields. Season 18 reminds us that supporting characters are not truly supporting. They are living their own battles, carrying their own wounds, and in many ways, they sharpen the story for everyone else. Tim remains the firebrand. He charges into Season 18 with his usual mix of stubborn pride and fierce loyalty. And once again, he proves that he is both the family's greatest frustration and one of its deepest protectors. He struggles with his past mistakes that often haunt him in conversations with Jack and Lou. But he also pushes to redeem himself through action. Whether it is coaching, guiding, or just showing up when no one expects him to, Tim refuses to step back. His energy may clash with Jack's patience and Amy's quiet strength, But beneath all the noise lies a truth. He wants to be better, even if he doesn't always know how. His arc this season reminds us that some people heal not in silence, but in motion, and Tim is never still for long. Katie brings another layer to the story. Growing up in the shadow of Amy and Lou, she now finds her voice in Season 18, no longer just the little girl at the table but a young woman testing her independence. Her questions, her defiance, and her small rebellions carry weight because they reflect the natural pull between generations. Watching Katie challenge Lou, sometimes in anger, sometimes in tears, feels like watching history repeat itself. Lou once stood against her parents in similar ways, and now she faces the same from her daughter. Katie's presence in the story is a reminder that growth always comes with conflict, and that the next generation must sometimes push against love in order to truly find it. Georgie's story, when it surfaces, carries a different energy altogether. Though not always at the center of the screen, her connection to the family still feels alive. Her choices and her path outside the ranch keep the reminder strong that the Heartland family stretches beyond the fences. Her independence echoes Amy's journey years before, showing that each character must eventually carve their own trail. Other side characters, from townsfolk to friends, shape the background like colors in a painting. They may not all linger in memory, but they provide the challenges and the support that keep the Bartlett-Fleming family moving forward. Every voice matters, whether it is someone asking Amy for help with a horse, someone seeking Lou's leadership, or someone crossing paths with Tim's restless energy. What makes the supporting arcs in Season 18 so unique is not that they dominate the story, but that they mirror it. They show us reflections of the main family in different forms: the stubbornness, the love, the struggle, the hope. Together they remind us that Heartland is not just the story of one family, but of a community bound together by trust, tension, and the land they share. The supporting characters prove one simple truth: no journey happens in isolation. Every laugh, every fight, every quiet moment adds weight to the bigger picture. And without them, Heartland would not feel alive. Season 18 allows these voices to rise in just the right moments, and in doing so, it creates a tapestry that feels complete. Every season of Heartland has its quiet lessons, but Season 18 feels like it carries them with more weight. At its core, this season speaks about resilience, how a family bends but does not break, how grief softens but never disappears, and how love can be both a comfort and a challenge. The themes don't scream at us. They whisper through the fields, through the arguments at the dinner table, through the tired eyes of a grandfather, through the smile of a child who does not yet know the world's cruelty. One of the strongest themes is the balance between holding on and letting go. Amy embodies it as she guides Lyndy toward independence, even when it reminds her of Ty and the ache of what she has lost. Lou feels it in every decision she makes as mayor, torn between her responsibility to Hudson and her responsibility to her family. Jack faces it in his reflections on aging, holding on to the traditions that built the ranch while knowing time will eventually demand he pass the torch. This theme weaves across every character: the struggle to decide what must be kept and what must be released, even when it hurts. Another central conflict is the tug-of-war between tradition and progress. The ranch itself becomes a symbol of this fight. Developers push forward with modern plans, while Jack insists on preserving the values that Heartland was built on. Lou, standing between both worlds, feels the clash more than anyone. Lisa sees the possibility of blending old and new, while Amy proves that healing methods rooted in patience and respect never truly go out of style. This struggle is not just about land, it is about identity, about what kind of future the family will leave behind. Family itself remains the loudest theme. Heartland shows us that family is not a picture-perfect portrait. It is messy, loud, sometimes painful. Arguments rise between Lou and Katie. Silence lingers between Jack and Tim, and heartbreak stings in Amy's quiet nights. Yet beneath it all is an unshakable truth: family endures. They may clash, but they always return to the same table, the same land, the same unspoken promise that no one truly walks away. The horses once again symbolize more than just animals. They are the mirrors of the characters themselves. The wild stallion that Amy calms is not just a horse. It is a reflection of wounded souls learning to trust again. The younger horses Lyndy connects with are reminders of innocence, of beginnings, of futures that still hold hope. In Season 18, every horse carries a story, and every story is tied back to the humans who care for them. What makes the themes of this season unique is their quiet depth. Instead of giving us answers, the show leaves us with questions. How do we keep moving when the past is heavy? How do we know when to fight for tradition and when to welcome change? How do we forgive family when they hurt us? And how do we find strength in each other when life feels unbearable? As Season 18 draws to a close, there is a sense of quiet after the storm. The family has faced conflicts, endured heartbreaks, and stumbled through hard choices, but they remain standing together. The ranch, with its wide pastures and timeless fences, feels unchanged at first glance, but the people within it are not the same. They carry the weight of what they have survived, but also the warmth of what they have built together. Amy's story comes full circle in subtle ways. By the end, she has found a steadier rhythm between being a mother, a trainer, and a woman still learning how to live without Ty. Her bond with Lyndy deepens into something more profound. No longer just a child needing her, but a daughter walking beside her, carrying the same quiet courage. In Amy's eyes, we see both the grief of the past and the promise of a future shaped by love. Lou stands tall. Though her journey is far from simple, she has wrestled with the responsibilities of leadership and motherhood. And though not every decision was perfect, she learns to accept that perfection is never the goal. What matters is showing up, fighting for the people she loves, and allowing herself the grace to be human. The season ends with her not as a woman who has solved every problem, but as one who continues to try, and that makes her victories all the more meaningful. Jack and Lisa remain the quiet anchor of the ranch. Jack's wisdom, sharpened by age and softened by love, lingers in the air long after he speaks. Lisa's presence continues to remind the family that love is not just comfort, but partnership. Together, they hold the past in their hands while watching the future unfold before them. Their story in Season 18 is not about grand gestures, but about the simple truth that growing old together is its own kind of triumph. Tim, Katie, and the others carry their own transformations forward. Tim continues his fight to be better than the man he once was, while Katie steps further into her independence, carving out her own voice in a family full of strong ones. Each of them leaves the season having learned something that cannot be unlearned. Lessons about love, trust, and what it means to find your place. The themes of family, tradition, and resilience echo strongly in the closing episodes. The conflicts may not be tied neatly with bows, but Heartland has never been about neat endings. It has always been about the ongoing rhythm of life. One challenge giving way to another. One heartbreak teaching the strength for the next joy. Season 18 closes not with finality, but with continuity. A promise that the story is not over, because life itself is never over. And as the last moments fade from the screen, we are left with the feeling that Heartland is more than a television show. It is a reflection of family in all its forms, messy, complicated, painful, and beautiful. It reminds us that healing takes time, that love is never simple, and that hope is always worth holding on to. Season 18 is not just a chapter, it is a reminder of why we keep returning to Heartland. Because in its fields and fences, in its heartbreaks and celebrations, we find pieces of our own story. And as the season ends, one truth lingers above all else. The Bartlett Fleming family will endure, no matter what tomorrow brings.